Hiya, it's Garcia from Moth Creaturae with another quick video update for this custom motorcycle helmet that we're doing to tie in with our first motorbike build, the City Sled. Right, before we get cracking, clearly you'll notice my recent lockdown haircut that I did. Decided to give myself a buzz cut. I think I did alright in terms of the blending goes. It's a 1 on the back and sides, and then up to 2, the 3, and a 4 on the top. Now clearly when I did it first of all, I did leave quite a bit of length on the top and it looked alright. I wanted to do the sides, did it, I didn't cock it up, that's not why I went shorter. I just got a little bit over ambitious and I couldn't leave it alone. And then I slept on it and the next morning I thought, nah, I'll get it done. And you know, you look at Google images at like people like David Beckham and Brad Pitt and they look obviously class when they've got like a buzz cut. I didn't look the same, but I figured, you know what it is, it'll grow back, worst case scenario. But actually when I took it off, it took us back to about like sort of 15-20 years ago when I used to have like real short hair like this, you know. And I have sporadically over the years, but really the past 10 years I've had quite longish hair. Anyway, moving on. Baseball caps and everything are too big for us now, like me melon's like tiny, you know. Right, so I haven't posted, I normally post my videos on a Sunday. And I didn't post my last video because things have changed. Right, the helmet. So I'll bring it over and I'll show you what we're doing. Obviously, as you know, we've got the chrome trim on. This is just mock-up. It'll be coming off for paint and everything. We've got a mock-up around there. We've got a visor in place. We've got and we've got the peak on, right? And then last time what we did was we put the hole in, you know, either side. So we put the press studs in there and they kind of match the sort of spacings of the top. Now the plan was, and you'll know because you've seen the last video, we had a rubber strip going around the visor. And I liked it, and I still do like it, and it might be something that we'll go with. I just figured, actually, if we can keep the visor looking really clean around the outside, why put a trim on? The trim hides mess, but if we just spend a little bit more time tidying it up, how cool would that look if that's all matte, like jet black, same as the peak, and you can still see the chrome around there, even when you've got the visor on? That'll be pretty gnarly, that, like, I think, you know. And it'll certainly look a bit more refined than if we put like a sort of matte black rubber trim around it. So, plan A has changed. Plan A is to try and keep it like this, right? Plan B is use this. Now, coming back to this, the original plan, I made some templates. Right, made some templates out of sellotape, and these went on the side, one there, and it would go on like that, almost like that, yeah. I know I've got blue tape in the way, so it's hard to tell where that is, but it kind of goes on like that. And then what I noticed was the visor didn't kind of sit right. I made the same templates out of paper. Now clearly paper's never going to be as durable, so what I did was I held the visor in place with tape, and then I put the visor templates on. So here's one of them. I had to cut it to get it off because I actually used press studs to keep it in place. There's the other one, which I didn't press stud. I just kept it in with tape. Excuse me. And it was press studded in place. I could see that not only was there slight movement, but because of the angle that this held in place, it wasn't free to flex. So if it was like an articulated joint, if you like, it would be able to flex and you'd be able to pull it further into where the visor needs to sit. But because this was like set, the angle, it kind of wanted to pull the visor upwards, if that makes sense. So here's the visor that we did in the last video, right? There we go. It's a clear visor, like you say, but you see I've got the letterbox cuts either side. Now don't worry about the matte edge here. That's where I've sort of made it smooth, nice and smooth. That was going to always be hidden by the visor strap. So if we put this in place, you'll get an idea for what I meant. So the idea was that would be held there like that. There's the leather strap coming off it. And then when I put it on, I figured, what's the worst thing that happens when you're riding a bike, closed face helmet? It's the whistle, it's the noise, it's any sort of cold getting in there. And if it rains, anything that's open is going to get wet. So I thought, you know what it is, the rain's going to hit me front of my visor, it's going to run back like that. And then these openings here, even if I closed them up, like put something behind it to close that up, which was the intention, so the leather didn't go straight on the plastic and pull. That's going to get wet and it's going to come inside the helmet, and if you're out for a while, that's going to get pretty unpleasant. You know, your head's going to be wrapped. So I figured, you know what it is, right? An original AGV visor, the reason I was going with these slits was simply because it already had holes in for the mounts for the tear-off strips that AGV put in place, the pin mounts. So that's what dictated where these went. I ordered aftermarket visor, right? It's actually in a lot better condition than mine's obviously been worn, you know, a lot, so it's had some little scratches and stuff on it. So I ordered a brand new one, right? It was half the price of a genuine one. Genuine ones are like 50 quid or something, 60 quid. This was like 25 quid, I think, 30 quid or something. But you know what it is? It was for this helmet. It's come, and I'm chuffed to bits with it because it didn't have the pin mounts. So it meant I was able to change my plan. The plan is now, literally, as you see that piece of tape there, that is the sort of press stud area where the press stud's going to go. So if you imagine, that's what it'll look like. There we go. That's what it'll look like at that end when the press stud's in place. We'll come across, and I've measured, right? I've already obviously cut this to shape. I wasn't going to bore you with another video of me making a visor, but I put this in place, cut it to shape that I want it. Obviously it's a little bit, tiny bit bigger than the other one at the moment because we haven't went with the edging. We've just went to the size of the aperture. And we've already measured in where the hole's going to be, right? Now I've put it half, I'll take this peep off so you can see what I'm doing. I went literally, I measured, I followed the line here, like the angle of that, followed that, and I went from the top of the visor to the bottom of the visor on the same sort of angle as that, and it was 8.5 centimeters. So I literally went halfway through the middle, so 4.25 centimeters, which was bang on there. And then what I did from that dot to the center of this, I did another line, right? And from the edge of the visor to there was another 4.5 centimeters. So I went 2.25 in, right, which took us to there. So I figured, right, it's not quite the same angle as that, which is what we were going for with the last one. It's kind of more of a straight angle, but I've got this pulled in super tight. I've used tape to get it into place. Then I've put the two, which are going to be mock-up straps on it, effectively simulating what these leather straps will be. And then I took all the other ones off, and actually I'm so chuffed with how it sits. And because at the moment I'm not going with the rubber strip around the outside, it means that the visor can actually sit snugly in against the true shape of the helmet aperture, which is what it was intended to by AGV. Are you with us? So that's the plan at the moment. We're going to go with this, right? So let's have a go. Let's drill it and put some press studs in and see what it's like. I'll make some templates today. I'll show you how I made the other templates. Literally all I'm going to do is, once I've drilled that piece there, I'm going to get me line and tape again, hold it back in place, probably put some tape there, put tape there, and then hold it in place and then put a straight line going from hole to hole, right? Once we've done that, we'll go over it a few times with sellotape, then we'll peel that off, turn it around, put sellotape on, then we'll cut the shape with leather strip. And what I'm going to use for the radiuses at the end where the press studs are is literally one of my sanding discs from my Dremel. So we'll use that. It'll give it a nice uniform curve around the press stud on that side and on that side. It's going to be the same finish on either side. So you'll have that kind of press stud head on that side, and on the side of the visor you'll also have that, albeit on the reverse side of this side you'll have it, the sort of female part of the press stud, and on the reverse side of this side we're just going to have a blank, just nothing, just flat. And it means that this side is able to articulate, and it means this side is as well, albeit we're hoping it'll just fit perfect, and that should give us enough space in there to still do the embossed Moth Creaturae logo. Right, enough waffle, let's get cracking. So I've already marked up on the actual, cool, it hasn't lifted it off. Right, so I've already marked it up where it's going to go. I'm just going to double check that one. take the side off. Two 2.25, cool. Oh God, this is the thing, isn't it? When you're doing things handmade like this, you do have to measure a few times. It's not like a computer's doing it. Put the coordinates in the computer, you know, and it's going to do it exactly what you want. But I'll have some more tape on here just to hold it. So let's measure that. That's 14. So that is 11 and a half. Yep, 11 and a half. So I know which one it is, the bigger one. Eleven and a half. Cool. I just wanted to double check that. So I'm just going to draw, because the thing is I've got two overlapping circles on this side and I don't want to cock it up. So I'm just going to draw a little arrow on that side so I know which circle it is. Right. Set that aside. I've already checked the drill bit. Drill bit I need is the same size as what I use for the rest of the helmet, and it's the same size as what the studs, the heads is, or the stems for the back of the press studs. So I'll hide this in. Gigs. Get a piece of wood and put this on the back of the piece of wood. What I don't want to do is try and hold it and the gun's bloody everywhere and guns cracks the thing. So I'm going to put that on as centre as we can. So we're just going slow. I'm not going to try and force through because I don't want to crack the thing. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. I'm speed up a little bit so I can see it's going in. But I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. I'm letting the sharpness of the blade do the work. Cool. Lovely. That's went through nice and neat. Right. It looks like it moved a little bit, mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to measure from the top. Actually, when I look at it, it's on the same angle it's on the same angle as what that one is. I'm still going to measure. Let's try and make that 3.1 on the same angle as that, 3.1 to the top. So on the same angle as that. It's a bit more in it, that's 3.3. Bloody hell, it's a nightmare, man. So I've put this back in place, and that was just because I think the drill bit moved a little bit. So the hole went in a couple of mil higher than what it should have. So again, I'll tape this down. We'll get there, like. But given that this is the second visor we're doing, you know, I don't want to cock it up. Cool. Right, let's measure this again. So from that outer dot to the centre of that one. If it did move, it only went up a millimetre. So we'll go from the centre of there, 11 and a half. Still happy with that one. This one. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Right, where's my wipes? Let's give this a clean. A hole there, and a hole there. Right, plan is now to make the templates for the straps. So what I'm going to hold this back in place again, more tape. Really good tape this, you know, it's not cheap either. Right, let's see what that's like. Happy with that. Right, there you go, you've pulled it one side too much. Cool. Now what I was looking for there was just uniformity. I don't want one side being even a fraction out. So, yep, cool. That's 11.5 centimeters there, hole to hole. This side is 11.5 centimeters this side. Cool. Next thing. Blue lining tape. Check that again. That hole was out, you know. It's only out a bloody millimetre, but so I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. So I want the straps to be the same on both sides. We're talking like 0.5 millimetre movement now, you know. That's ridiculous. Like 1 millimetre in full, but 0.5 millimetre on each side. How ridiculous is that? Right, we're on. Right, now what I've done is, I've put the tape above the area I want to put the blue lining tape, because there's my hole, there's the other hole, so it frees up this whole area here. Likewise, I've done the same on the other side, right? So I'm going to have my blue lining tape on, and I'm going to go from beyond the hole to beyond the hole, right? That way I can get it right over the centre. Cool. Next thing, sellotape. I'll go over the centre of the blue tape first, so it's got something to stick to. So actually, even if there's dust on the helmet surface, it'll stick to the back of that blue lining tape. and I'm just going to do a strip either side of it to give us enough room to cut the template to the size that I want. Now do the other side. Cool. Right, now I've got to peel them off. on the off, you know, on the bus, off the bus. What's the saying used to go? Bloody hell. Right, so gently we'll take it from the centre of the fact. Where's my marker pen? Let's mark on here first where the edge of where the visor draws round. What I'm going to do is just stick a little hole where that yeah, I'm going to put a little hole in the blue tape each side. It's got a little pencil, a clicky pencil really. Yeah, I've got a clicky pencil. Use my clicky pencil, stick a little hole in. That's better, isn't it? So now let's see where the press studs are going to go, both sides of it. The same on the other side. There we go. Happy with that. So let's peel these off. Make some space so we can put the sellotape on the back of these templates and we'll get them cut. Fuck yeah, what we're going to put on here? Rear, right, front, right, front, left, rear, left. You hear that then? Honestly, people think we live next to a racetrack. Yeah, we'll go, there's one side and I've wrote on it front right, rear right, so I know which side of the helmet it goes on. We'll do this one first, then we'll stick it back in place, and we'll do the other one. So all we're going to do, like we did for the last template, we're going to hold that flat, like a strip of sellotape on the reverse, and it'll stop it being sticky on this side, so it means we can handle it. Right, so put it flat again. Put that over the blue first of all, nice and straight. Cool. We can handle it on both sides now, it's not sticky anymore. So what we're going to do, we're just going to, where's my little template? There we go, my little sanding disc. We're going to put that underneath, right, on the reverse. And I'm going to draw around it. I'm going to get that central so I can see where it is. So I can use that as the gauge for the centre of it. I'm going to put the little hole over the edge of the centre of that. And then I'm going to use my marker pen and draw around it. It's quite difficult because I wasn't drawing around it on the top side, like, you know, drawing around it. I was tracing it, and obviously tracing it's a bit more difficult. I think it looks alright. Right, so again, we're not drawing all the way around the circle. Obviously this is going to be a radius at the edge of the leather strip, so we don't need to draw all the way around because we'll not be cutting it all out, we'll only be cutting out the outer edge. The inner edges of both edges will be joined up. See what I mean? So now I'll get my ruler and I'll join them up. And what we'll find is, like on the last template that we made, the blue line mightn't even be straight because it follows the curve of the helmet. But what is straight, we know that it is the holes, the lines in between the holes. And what we've done is, we've drew a round radius of both sides. Yeah, and then we've joined them up. So there's one template for one side. We'll cut this out and we'll stick it in place so we don't forget which side it is, even though I've wrote it on, but I'm a bit thick like that. Right, so we'll cut it out. First thing I'm going to do is snip the ends. Cool. Yeah, so when I was doing my hair the other day, anyway, if you're still watching, like, if still got any people watching this, when I was doing my hair, I did it like I've done it now. I took my beard down quite a bit actually. I mean, I haven't shaved it off. It's just I've got quite fair hair, well, grey hair, so you can't really see it, but it is still there. Like, it's still like about maybe about 8-9 mil long. Took it like that. It'll grow back, you know. I'm not going to grow it maybe as long again so quickly, but I trimmed it. But I left the tash and I left the curly bits at the edge, you know, like a bloody circus master. And my little one Hayden, he was creased laughing at it, like, it looked ridiculous. I did look ridiculous, but I was keeping it on just for fun because it was funny, you know, comedy value. But I decided to take it off in the end. I was trying to grow that in nice and dark, and this bit nice and dark, and then keep the rest stubble, but it just doesn't work for some people, does it? And so I'll get the mascara out later. Right, so there's my template. Cool. I'm going to put the hole back in. Use my scalpel. Just going to hide a little incision across. And across on the other side. It's important that we do this as neat as we can, because what we don't want to do is not do it well enough and then we'll put the Presto through and it splits it and then goes off on a weird angle or something, you know. Cool. So there's one side done. We're not going to rivet these obviously because these aren't the actual templates, actual straps, they're just templates. So what we are going to do is we're going to put it through like that, and then we'll put this in place, and it'll hold in place because of the holes that were drilled in the helmet and because of the hole we've drilled in the visor, you know. So there's one in there. And that's the first time it's went into the visor, so it's a little bit tight, which is a good thing, reassuring. But there's the strap. If we could do these clear, that would be even allier, wouldn't it? Right, so we've got this one marked up, so let's take this one off now. How cool would that be if they could be clear? Line and tape's broke. Doesn't matter, it's after the hole, but it'd be better if it hadn't. Just keep the OCD at bay. There we go. I don't think this is the way to go. I think the other idea was a cool idea, but it's part of the evolutionary process, isn't it? It's part of the design process. You know, you figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. Things evolve, things change. You've got to be agile, you've got to be flexible, ain't you? You can't just be set in stone. No, it must be done like this, it must be. Ultimately, if it still achieves your aim, and if your aim is at looking cool, but being functional, that's the issue. There's no issue at all. Obviously, I've incurred further expense because I've bought an extra visor, but ultimately, whilst this was about doing it myself, and obviously doing it myself is going to keep the cost down, it wasn't about being a cost-cutting exercise. It was about me creating something, because that floats me boat. Right, so again, we'll put this little template that we used, my little sanding disc underneath, and we'll just trace around the outside edge. Went a bit skew if that one, like. Cut it out, and if we've got to adjust it, take a bit more off, we'll take a bit more off, but the benefit is I'm cutting out the outside edge of the black line, you know, not the inside. So it does mean we've got a little bit of room to play with. Right, so again, I'll start the edge, just cut that blue strip off. Right, I'll follow the outside edge around. Scalpel. Cool, that looks central. So stick this one in. Now you see it's got a tiny little bit of slack in it, and obviously I wanted it to pull super tight. You'll see I'm pushing the slack up there now. You've just ripped it, you daft sod. But I'm happy that I've got the template right, which means I can take these off. Watch. We'll leave that bit of tape on that side because we've just cocked that one up a little bit. But the point is I've got my templates now, which I can send off to my friend Steve, who's going to make us some leather straps for this. And I think you'll agree, once this is all like pure shiny black, right, and then we've got this on the top, I think the right way to go is literally keep that edge with no edge on it, you know what I mean? So you can see the chrome around the bottom, chrome around there. I think that will look much better than had we put a black edge round. Obviously, in addition, we're gonna have them polished titanium pieces around it. You know, I think it's gonna look pretty gnarly. Anyway, quite a long-winded video today just because of my tomfoolery. So thanks for bearing with us. Next video, what we'll be doing, we've done the templates now, we'll get them sent off. Happy with how the visor's looking. Next thing to do is paint, isn't it? So I think that's what we'll be doing. I think next video, yeah, we'll give it a go, a bit of a rub down again, get it prepped, tape off the bits that we need to tape off, take all that chrome trim off and everything, you know, take the press studs out, and then tape up the areas that we can't get rid of, the mesh, and then we'll give it a coat of some sort of primer, probably something like, I'll have to look into it, but maybe like an etch primer because it's going onto that sort of bare fiberglass here. Now we've already keyed it, but we just want to make sure we've got the best sort of surface to put any laser paint on. We'll end up primering it and then giving it a rub down before we paint anyway, but that'll probably be the next video. So we'll need a dry day, sunny day hopefully, and hopefully a day that's got no wind, because we'll not be doing it in the workshop because I'll end up high as a kite. So be doing it out in the garden. Certainly I've got no paint booth here. But until next time, all the best. Hopefully my hair's grown back a little bit by next time. Take care. Bye bye.